to keep us waiting. May Allah forgive us all. As we all know, the great month of Ramadan is fast approaching. Today is 3rd of Sha'ban, meaning that in 27, 26 days' time, we'll be starting Ramadan, inshallah. We ask Allah to balligina Ramadan, to make us arrive at Ramadan and be part of those who will fast it in a good state of health. Tonight, inshallah, what we are doing is we are looking at Ramadan in perspectives. By that, we are looking at Ramadan from the angles in which we can we can look at it intellectually, morally, socially, economically, medically, and other ways. So, but to do that, so that perspective is going to be according to authors. Some books were consulted with regards to Ramadan. So that's what we are doing tonight. I have with me the book by Sheikh Abul Hassan Ali Nadwi, Four Pillars of Islam. We look at Ramadan from that very perspective. Equally, we have the book of Towards Understanding Islam by Abul Ala Maududi. It's a perspective. We have Some in Focus by Hamuda Abdulahati. It's a perspective. We equally have Let's Ask the Muslim by Maududi also. It's a perspective. We have a dimension of Islamic worship by Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali. It's equally a perspective. There are many others in Arabic, in Al-Qasidin and others. But for tonight, inshallah, those are perspectives. We're looking at Ramadan as a way of preparing for the month of Ramadan. The first one is The Four Pillars of Islam by Abu Hassan Ali Nadwi, Rahimahullah, which was written around 2012. And from page 169 to 13, you have Ramadan Discourse, Fast of Ramadan Discourse, that very book. So the author begins by saying that in the scheme of creation, the man is between animal and angel by nature, by the way he is composed. So his nature, according to the author, is a blend of two attributes: that of the animal, that of the angel, and that attribute is a requirement, is a prerequisite for man to be an Khalifa on earth, because man is not meant to be Khalifa in the heavens. Angels were not meant to be on the earth. So animals are not meant to be the heavens. So the assignment man was given was for him to come to the earth, and he has to have the qualities, the components of what can make him live on the earth to discharge the duty. That's why in man, Allah reflects in him some attributes of freedom, mercy, patience, power. You see man having those good attributes, which are attributes of Allah. Allah did one thing, Allah breathed into man, so he gave man some of those attributes. Also, man has other impulses in his dispositions. Man, he feels the hunger, thirst, sex, love of ease, creativity, desire for varieties, and so on. Desire for change. These are part of man too. So man is now there's a tussle between body and spirit in man, because man is a combination of body and soul. So the soul pulls him to the origin that man should revolt against materialistic conception of life, to spend some time with what can make him return to Allah, what can make him praise his Lord. So there's a pull in the heart of man towards that. Similarly, the body equally invites man to his source, the earth, which of course is home of crookedness, home of rebasement, home of materialism, home of cheating and the like. So man is between these two. So when the hold of spirit, weakens, when the spiritual power of man, the willpower of spiritual is weak, then man falls under control of physical self. So when man's spiritual power is weak, he becomes a slave to his human propensity. Then you see man becoming a slave to physical self. So but when the beast in man is left loose and is not controlled, then his stomach takes over, becomes the pivot of human, making him to existence, because determining everything he wants to do. Then there comes fasting as a shield to save man from becoming a slave to his stomach. The author continues to explain that fast, he now went to make comparison of fasts as obtained in the ancient religions. He began by mentioning Hinduism, that in Hinduism, according to Professor Mahadevan of Madras, that each cult in Hinduism, what do? They have special days for their own fast in the year. It's not about everybody fasting together. Just each cult, each group, each sect, they have a day they fast in the year. That was one of the features in Hinduistic fasting. Then in Zoroastrianism too, in their own case, there is another philosophy or ideology that in their own case now, fasting is not compulsory for the common man. Common man may not need to fast in their own case. It's not for everybody too. In Judaism, he explains that in their own case, fasting was instituted as a sign of mourning. So when there's a kind of they want to mourn somebody, they will fast. Or when there's a danger threatening them, and so on and so forth, then they will want to what? They want to fast. When a seer, for example, their rabbi wants to prepare himself for so-called divine revelation, they will declare people should fast. Then there were occasional fasts equally in those days, which they go through. So in their own case too, they fast at times in memory of certain disaster. If something happened some years ago, they just say, let us fast to remember what happened some times ago. That one is just tips of fasting in Judaism. In Christianity first, according to the Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics, it is recorded that Jesus fasted 40 days. Before his ministry, he fasted 40 days. But he left no regulation for the church, for his people, on how to continue fasting. No pastor can quote that anywhere that, okay, Jesus said, this is how you fast, this is what you do. He fasted, and it left the church to decide how they go about it. Then there was one day fast. Being a Jew too, you might have fasted. They call Day of Atonement. It's a one day fast that was common, prevalent in Jewish environment that very time. But from the 3rd century, there was what they call church orders. These church orders now, that was from where they were now picking how the fast should be. They were not trying to regularize fasting. By 4th century, in that same order, then the fasting of 2 days before Easter was instituted. And of course, at time it ends in the midnight. As for those who were sick, they were allowed to fast on Saturday. Then, but there was diversity in the fasting among the Christians across the world. And there was diversity of when they stopped the fast, like in Rome. They stopped their own fast by a cockcrow. Elsewhere, it was nightfall. But the 40-day fast find its way as popular today in the 1st century. So Rome, in the case of Rome, there were 3 successive weeks for fasting before Easter. Then that was that. They left Saturday and Sunday out. In Illyria, Greece, and Alexandria, they fasted 6 weeks. So from this, we can see that there was variance in this fasting in the case of how they fast, because some of them, the fast they observed was that some will only eat fish alone. They will not eat any other food, So they will be eating fish alone. They can eat bread, they can eat other things. It's called fasting because they say they are fasting by eating fish alone. Some again, their own fast was they will only eat fish and fowl. So they won't eat another kind of food. It's a fasting. Some in their own case, they will avoid eating egg and fruit. They are fasting. Some again, they will just eat dry bread only. Say they are fasting. Some don't eat anything at all. They say they are fasting. Some avoid food that were cooked on fire. They were equally fasting. All these were the things common in the fast of the Christian church then. So we see from that Islamic fast is unique in that, unlike all these fastings, they do not actually shield or treat the nature of man. So Islamic uniqueness in our own case, the fasting of Islam was compulsory for all that have attained puberty. It's compulsory for everyone. So no whether you are rich or poor, you must observe it. Number 2 is that it's global and universal. Anywhere in the world you go, from Iran to Iraq to Australia to Austria to America to Chile to France to Paris, anywhere you go, the fasting is constant, the manner is constant, the month is constant, the approach is constant, the activities are constant in the month of Islam. Beside that, again, the sahur, the iftar, everything is regulated and everybody understands this across the Muslim world. And of course, the spirit of fasting is total abstinence to want to become God conscious. That was all that our scholar Abu Ali Hasanadawi said in his book, Four Pillars of Islam. Now, coming to Maududi in his own Towards Understanding Islam. So you can see the perspective of Ali Nadwi in those books of Four Pillars of Islam, because he wrote articles on those four pillars. He now combine them to become a book. So, and we mentioned that in that very book, if you can get it, it's at least you can get the ebook and download it. If I will appreciate that, just if you read the book very well, you will appreciate the fashion of Islam so much. Just page 169 to 213 is very broad. You will enjoy that. You'll be happy that, Alhamdulillah, you are a Muslim. So the perspective in that segment is nature of man was singled out, and he tried to explain that fasting is a shield. Secondly, it could be comparison of Islamic fast and other fasts, as explained earlier. Now, coming to Maududi in his own book, Towards Understanding Islam, that's just on a page in the book, because the book was just like giving brief on Islam. On page 62, Maududi explained that, number one, that what Salat wants to achieve 5 times a day, fasting equivalent to achieve once a year for 30 days. When you come to the mosque for Subi, for Zuhr, for Asri, but as case of Ramadan, you have to continue fasting for 30 days. That is the first thing he mentioned in his own book, that is, when you observe Salat, there's a goal. When you fast, there's a goal. The ultimate goal is to fear Allah. So Salat means to come every 5 times to come and talk to Allah and we pray to Allah. Then secondly, mentioned that faith in Allah, fear of Allah, and the fear of Akhirah makes us that we now come, makes us to cast us aside our delicious meal. God, nothing but that. How will you just leave you will not just eat, you don't just drink. Something must be inspiring you not to do that. That's the fear of Allah. Then he now tells us that because of that, we now suppress our passion and desires, and make the law of Allah supreme. When you observe fast of Ramadan, you are making Allah's law supreme because you're obeying the rules of Allah. So, beside that, he mentioned that fasting or fast of Ramadan has impact on society because it brings about the real equality of human being in society, unlike other religions that cannot achieve that. There's sentiment of love and brotherhood. When you are fasting together, rich man is fasting, the poor is fasting, and you feel the pain of hunger. You are able to realize that they are going through a lot of things. So you abandon the dunya and focus on the akhirah. Is the love of Allah, as explained by Maududi in that very chapter of the book. When you look at the pillars of Islam, Zakat focuses on welfare, humanitarianism. When you look at Salah, it focuses on the bond of coming together and want to please Allah alone, constancy in coming to God. When you look at Hajj, it creates a forum for universal commonwealth of human beings, of believers. When you look at the first pillar, Al-Iman, it liberates man from all hodgepodges or nonsensical beliefs or philosophies. Iman Aqidah makes you realize that, but Allah alone in everything is the beginning, is the when you move and so on and so forth. But there's one aspect of life, that is, man has two weaknesses: the shower and the hawa. The shower, the Quran tells us in Surah Al-Imran verse 14, where Allah says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِرِ," to the end. Allah mentioned the shower, things that you desire, you're lost. So that is one thing for man. So we talk of what you want to eat, what you want to drink, what you want to enjoy. Then hawa is your desires, that I will not pray, I will not fast, I will drink alcohol. Those kind of thoughts that one has are desires that he makes to disobey Allah. So fasting is the most potent pillar that helps to fight that very weakness. It's only fasting that is able to let man come to terms with reality of not disobeying Allah. That is all from the book Towards Understanding Islam by Abul Ala Al-Maududi, inshallah. As our interlude for tonight, inshallah, we have our Ramadan nasheed, or Ramadan preparation nasheed, which goes like this. Is a favor, is a mercy, is a blessing from Allah to be living and fasting in the month of Ramadan. Is a favor, is a mercy, is a blessing from Allah to be living and fasting in the month of Ramadan, month of glory, month of fasting, in which our Quran was revealed as a guidance and healing for believers of the world. Is a favor, is a mercy, is a blessing from Allah to be living and fasting in the month of Ramadan. Rajab has gone, Shaban has come, for Ramadan to follow. Starting fasting with Sahuru, breaking fasting with Iftar. Is a favor, is a mercy, is a blessing from Allah to be living and fasting in the month of Ramadan. Fasting Shaban recommended to emulate Muhammad. Salatullah, salamullah, ala ashrafil mursaleen. Is a favor, is a mercy, is a blessing from Allah to be living and fasting in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan come, adults come, Arayanu, the open door is for believers forever. Just mind that very way. Now, in the next book, Islam in Focus by Hamuda Abdulati, page 171 to 184. Hamuda Abdulati, page 171 to 184. In this book also, the author was the book. You need to read those pages. When you read it, can assure you that this coming Ramadan can't be like your previous Ramadan, because it will prepare you philosophically, intellectually, morally, socially to really embrace the coming Ramadan in a very different mode. First thing you observe there is try to make clear that the definition of fasting itself, the misconception that fasting is the abstinence from eating, drinking, and sexual intercourse, it says it's a misconception in the first instance. That the fast of Ramadan is much more than that. Much more than that. He now tried to give about 11 or 12 principles that define Islamic fasting. Now, the first one he mentioned is that in trying to start, he says, fasting in Islam is a matchless institution, because the spiritual meaning of fasting is very great. The principle one is Ramadan teaches you sincere love. Sincere love. In that, it's out of deep love you fast. Because you love Allah, you fast for Him. Nothing but that. Because you just ask yourself, why am I fasting? You see, you don't say immediate. You don't see the immediate thing that you see why you must fast. Nobody is monitoring you. So there's a kind of love in your heart. Forget the fact that the way you fast today, we are coming to that. Second is, he mentioned that fasting in Islam equips man with creative sense of hope and optimistic outlook on life. When you fast, what do you expect? What's your desired expectation? You want Allah to reward you. You prefer to go through hunger, through thirst, through inconvenience, through rigor, so that you are hopeful. You are not doubting that Allah will reward you for that. It's a creation of that kind of sense of hope in man. Thirdly is that it imbues man with a genuine virtue of effective devotion, honest dedication, and closeness to Allah. When you are fasting, the question is, whom are you fasting for? It's very clear. You are fasting to Allah. You are not doubting that one at all. There's some other things you can do, some other pillars of Islam, like giving alms to the poor, like giving zakat. You can do it to please some people. You can do hajj to please some people. When it comes to fasting, the pain you go through, it doesn't worth it that you fast because of human being. Because the pain, the hunger, you can just go somewhere secretly after you are promised you are fasting for them and go and eat. But here you are. You won't just do that because you are expecting something great from Allah. Besides that, again, the fasting of Islam cultivates a man vigilant and sound conscience. When you fast in secret, you fast in secret and public. No mundane authority is monitoring you. You monitor yourself. You will not drink water. You will not sip it. You do ablution 5 times in a day, more than that. You will not swallow in a way. Even when you swallow by mistake, you feel so bad. So and so forth. It's a kind of it's considered vigilance that you are conscious. You will not tell her, you will not do many things. You avoid many things. Then also, it indoctrinates man in patience and unselfishness. Do you see that? When you fast, you go through a kind of deprivation. Deprivation. Because it's not that you're not hungry. It's not that you don't see things to buy to enjoy yourself. But what do? You just basically, you don't do that. It's a deprivation you go through. In the course of which you're able to realize that some people are suffering through, you now realize that some people weekly or monthly or yearly, they go through that kind of deprivation. Then naturally you start to feel the kind of have a feeling for them humanitarian wise. Also, Ramadan fasting teaches effective lesson in applied moderation and willpower. When you are fasting, you are disciplined to control your desires. At times you feel like doing some things which are physical things, but you don't just do it. You won't just eat. You won't just go after a girl or go after somebody. You won't just take alcohol. So that's Ramadan is very effective in teaching you that habit to avoid things like that. Then another thing spiritually is that it gives a transparent soul that transcends, clear mind to think. It makes you to have a free mind to think. You're able to have a light stomach. Your brain is able to think well. When somebody eats so much, he can't think well. So Ramadan comes to your rescue to make you think better. Then Ramadan is a spiritual semester of home economics. It's a spiritual semester of home economics and budgeting. It's expected that in Ramadan, you spend less. If before Ramadan you are spending 100K, then in Ramadan you are meant to spend less or half of that. If you are spending more than that, there is a problem somewhere. So you realize that you eat less. It's Ramadan, it makes that to your subconscious to reduce what you eat. Then also, Ramadan fast teaches you to master the art of mature adaptability, because Ramadan fast changes your entire arrangement. It changes your system. Your eating pattern, it changes it from eating 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. It makes you eat earlier. Besides that, it makes you wake up at night. When you are meant to be sleeping, you get up earlier. You be waking up earlier before. But Ramadan time, you are conscious to do more. You wake up instead of 4 a.m., you wake up 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Instead of that one again, after Isha, when you go and sleep and rest, you stand enough for 1 or 2 hours again. Then evening, you're reading the Quran, you're in a vehicle, you are moving, you're always busy with one thing or the other. It's a total change of your system of actions. Ramadan does that one too. And finally, for tonight, or last but one, healthy survival. Ramadan relieves your stomach because it relaxes the digestive system. It ensures your body and soul from overcharge. When you are not fasting, you know what you eat. Guguru will pass, you buy. This will Garant will pass, you buy. Share everything. You just want to take them and you want to enjoy them. Ramadan come to let you know, discipline yourself. This thing, they affect your health. Yes, and they do affect. And last one there is that it originates in man spirit of social belonging. You realize that when you are fasting, you have the mind that others are equally fasting. We are one across the world. We are equal. That's what brings equality before Allah. That's the real thing that brings equality before man, because the law of fasting is the same for everybody. Not that the rich men have a particular law where they can break their own fast. Maybe the rich men, when they are fasting and you're hungry, break your own. No, everything is the same for everybody. When you look at this very well, you realize that Ramadan fast goes a long way to free us from other things. And by so doing, we learn that That's a great, achievement of Ramadan. According to our scholar, Hamuda Abulaati, those are some of the perspective to Ramadan by way of definition, which I think we get there. So it's a favor, it's a mercy, it's a blessing from Allah to be living and fasting in the month of Ramadan. The last but one book for tonight, my dear listeners and brothers and sisters, is Inner Dimension of Islamic Worship by Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali. This perspective, again, is very, 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 great. You realize that this was translated by Mutar Holland. He extracted it from Ihya Ulumuddin. It's a voluminous book. He extracted this segment of Islamic worship containing Salah, Zakat, and things like that. Now, in the area of the fasting in the book, as mentioned by the author, then he says fasting has 3 grades. 3 grades. So when you now look at people to do fasting, you need to fix your grade. Or before Ramadan starts, you plan your grade. Or when you are fasting, you know your grade. When you are finished fasting, you measure your grade. It's 3 ways. First grade is ordinary fasting, called al-umum, siyam al-umum. Second grade is special, it's called siyam al-khusus. Third grade is extra special, that is siyam khusus al-khusus. These are the 3 grades according to the author, Imam Ghazali, on fasting. When it says ordinary fasting is a common fast, you avoid eating, drinking, sexual intercourse. But such people may be lying, may be doing other things. That's ordinary fasting. Second fast is special. That one, all the organs, your hands will not commit sin, your mouth will not sin, will not commit sin. Those are all the bodily parts are protected, shielded, controlled, not to commit any sin. That's special. Then we have extra special. That's one, your heart, called buka, will not think of anything unworthy, anything worldly, anything unworthy, it will not think it. Anything worldly, it will not think it. Anything thought about this world, because at this level of extra special, to even think of anything outside Allah will break the fast, according to those people in that level. The awliya, the prophets, and that level. So this level, according to the author here, there are 6 requirements of this fasting, of the special fasting. One is that I see not. Your eyes, when you are now fasting, will not watch immoral things on YouTube or Snapchat. I mean on Instagram, on Facebook, on Reel, on TikTok. You can see that the challenge of the modern world is your challenge of managing your mobile phone in Ramadan. Get ready how to. And it's very simple. It's a matter of decision. Because you can't spend so much. You can't go through so much rigors and waste the time. So when you control your eyes correctly, rightly, you are doing that very one. It's a requirement of special fast. Second is what? I speak not. You don't utter vulgar things. You don't abuse. You don't shout. You don't sing. You don't do anything. That's the level in the special fasting, which we are all of us should aspire to be. Then I hear not. Your ear, you can't just hear any music, anything wrong, anything lying, falsehood, backbiting, and ready for that. Then I do not. Your hands, your leg must not do the wrong thing, must not go to the wrong place. And of course, no overeating. This is a condition of a special fasting that you ensure your sahur, you don't overeat. Because some will overeat to make up for the afternoon they are going to miss. That will not be okay. Then some will now overeat again when they are breaking the fast to balance the lunch they have not taken. That should not be so. So you don't overeat when you are fasting. The last one is what? Look to Allah alone. You look to Allah continuously. You don't say anything but Allah. That even when you are breaking your fast, your mind is that Allah is you do between hope and raja, between fear and hope that I've just fasted now. Allah, I don't know. Please, Allah, please accept. Takobali minna innaka antasim. Yeah, you don't be happy that I fasted today. You are counting the days, but Allah that you are fasting for, are you sure He has accepted the fast? So some have fasted for years. Maybe Allah has accepted it. So you feel humble, hope, you fear the raja, hopeful. That's how you should always feel after anytime you break your fast. Don't be too happy that thank God the days are going. So that is what that. The last book is Let Us Be Muslims by Abul Ala Maududi. This part 4 of the book on Psalm, page 181 through 194. This segment, too, I will appreciate you get the book and read. In this segment, Maududi discusses meaning and blessing of the fast. If I read those portions, you'll be so happy that you've read them. Then he mentioned life of worship. That's where he began the discussion on Ramadan. Is that we have to see Islam itself as coming to transform man, your entire life to worship. Everything you do, you talk, you speak, you walk, you sit, you touch, you read, everything is about worship. That's what Islam has come to do. So everything you are doing to be seen as worship. That's the first thing he explains in that variable. Then rituals lead to life of worship. Rituals here mean salat, zakat, hajj. So when you now understand that Islam itself has come to transform you to a life of worship, and that the salat, these are official ways to actually make you worship Allah. So it's a transformation to make you attain total worship, of which fasting is one. He now says, how does fasting develop us? He mentions about 5 ways. That one, exclusively, is a private worship. That only you know that you are fasting. So fasting develops you to control, to be conscious that you are serving Allah. Second is that sure sign of faith. If you don't have iman, you cannot fast. You can't just fast for show off. It does not work. You are hungry, you are thirsty. What you do is that you go and eat secretly. But this one, you are not eating secretly. You are not drinking secretly. You are not doing anything. You have your wife, you cannot go to her. So it's a life of faith. It's an iman. Forget the level of the iman. It's iman, whatever the level. Then it's a month-long training. Not like any other pillar of Islam. 30 days, 12 or 14 hours every day. You are just busy doing the same thing, reading the Quran. Look at the rigor. You wake up, you sleep, you pray Tarawih, maybe 1 or 2 hours. You get up again, you pray Qiyam Malay, you read your Quran, you make dua, you do askar, you go over sahur, you finish sahur, you rest a little, you go to subuh, you shrunk, you wait again. Just you're going to finish a Quran or two, to do tadabbur and things like that. So it's a month longer training. Unlike more than any other pillar. Salat is just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you are through, go back. Zakat is just within a few hours, you settle that very one. Hajj is just 5-7 days, you are back. But Ramadan says that no, just 29 days or 30. Keep on doing the same thing continuously. It's a longer training of spiritual training. Then practicing obedience. In Ramadan, you are obedience every second. You are practicing. You have to do this. You have to do this. You don't do this. You have to do this. Don't look at this. Don't touch this. Don't do this. Don't do this. The laws are there, and you're obeying everything. You are practicing obedience. Then communal fasting. All of us are fasting. The brotherhood of Islam, we share together. All this you see in the book of Maududi. Then that says, where are the results? That the question on page 188. All this you have said to transform you, to do this, the communal, the brotherhood. Where are the results of this thing? So we are not seeing them. And I say, why are we not seeing them? It's because we do not understand the meaning of fasting. The true spirit of fasting is what we lack, because it has purpose and form. And I explain that when you want to eat food now, why do you eat food? It's for you to be healthy, to be strong, not to die. Why do you eat food? You pick the substance, you put in your mouth. If you want to now go and take sawdust or mud or sand and be eating it, the process is just to take something and eat something. Maybe you got to be eating paper, be eating anything. So that is why Madrid says that the same thing happens to fasting. When you don't understand the form and spirit, you just have to do what? Fasting for the sake of it. You take out, take everything, and in the course of fasting, you are washing the Z word and the likes. So that one is an area that we have to know. Then the outward, basically the real. That's what happens today. Our outward of feeling the hunger, or feeling the thirst, does not actually go with the real intention of fasting. So, the wrong view of worship affects us. Fasting as a way of piety. Then condition of true fasting, abstention from falsehood is a condition for true fasting. Then faith and self-scrutiny, shield against sins, and hunger for goodness. These are the aspects from which Maududi was fasting in his book, Let All Be Muslim, as a perspective for fasting. So, my dear brothers and sisters, these are the perspectives. We check very well, starting from our first scholar, Hassan al-Nadwi, in his 4 pillars of Islam. Basically, he began by doing what? By defining man and his nature, and why fasting is the only panacea to arrest his desires and laws. He went further to let us know the supremacy, the ascendancy, the power, the superiority of Islam by comparing it with other fasts in Zoroastrian, the Hindus, the Christians, the Jews. And we saw it clearly that their own fast is like a partial, not like Ramadan fast. That was about that in his own 4 pillars of Islam. Then in the case of Maududin is let us be Muslim. He basically trying to let us realize that the same way fasting has a kind of what we want to achieve, Ramadan has its own program too and projects what we want to achieve to that. When you now fast, it makes impact in society, not just about you alone. You are made to reflect, to help others. The communal, the humanitarian content of fasting emphasize and that when you fast, it's because you fear Allah and you fear His punishment in the hereafter. That's one to understand from his own book towards understanding Islam. And when it comes to Islam in focus, Alhamdulillah, our author Abu Hamud Abul Ati explained that the first thing is to get the definition of fast clearly, not just a matter of not eating and drinking or whatever, but that there are some principles that go with Islamic definition of fasting. I mentioned about 11 areas, that teaches you to be sincere of sincerity of love and the likes in his own book. Then also we talk about the grading of Al-Ghazali in his book Ihya Ulumuddin, or Inner Dimension of Islamic Worship. So in that one too, we say there are 3 grades: the ordinary, the special, and the extra special. So that as we are starting, we are ready to start Ramadan, I pray I will all of us to just decide now which grade you want to go. Are you going for ordinary? So I want to buy something from a boutique or from a kind of store. You want the best for yourself. So I think you should go for the best. Minimum here is to go for special fasting, whereby beyond not eating and drinking, our body parts must equally fast, especially with our social media management and presence as Ramadan starts. We have to look at that very well. And lastly, Maududi in his book, Let Us Be Muslims, pages 181 to 194, where he now tries to explain to us the blessing of fasting as a life of transformation and so on and so forth. So on this note tonight, inshallah, dear listeners, we are going to pause there on the Ramadan, and I pray that Allah, inshallah, come next time we are meeting, inshallah, we are going to look at Ramadan again from another perspective. So Ramadan talk, Ramadan enlightenment is before Ramadan. During Ramadan, just a kind of reminder so that all of us can get ready with the right frame of mind to go headlong to really see how we can achieve and maximize the reward for Ramadan. I pray to Allah, give mercy to forgive our shortcomings. Once again, I take us through our Ramadan nasheed and rhyme that will be taken from time to time. It's a favor, it's a mercy, it's a blessing from Allah to be living and fasting in the month of Ramadan. Starting one day, ending one day, 30 days of Ramadan will be over and over forever. Every man lives, every man will live as days of Ramadan and be over and over from this world. Barakallahu fina jamia, barakallahu fikum, shukran jazila. So maybe you have some questions, clarifications to make before we round off for tonight, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. You are free now to ask your questions. The book I've mentioned, the books I've mentioned, those 4 books. The 4 books are those the 4 pillars of Islam by Ali Nadwi. Towards understanding Islam, say Maududi. It was Muslim, Maududi, the same author. Then Inner Dimension of Islamic Worship, Imam Al-Ghazali. Those are the books. Then Hamud Abul Ati, Islamic Focus, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. So those are the books as mentioned to us. Barakallahu fikum. So there are questions, you can ask your questions now. So from the chat box, no questions there. We have questions you can signify. So you can take that, inshallah. You have questions? If there are none, then that means for tonight, inshallah, we'll drawing curtain on our discussion. So when is a minute or 2 minutes time. If you have questions, you can ask your questions now. Okay, so I want to appreciate everyone for coming tonight. May Allah bless us all and guide us right. Or you have comments or additions to make, both are welcome. You have additions or comments, clarifications. So if there's none, so I once again want to thank everyone. May Allah reward you abundantly. And as we expect Ramadan, we ask Allah to bless us all. The common prayer that Allahumma Ramadan. So we encourage us all to try to announce to fast some days in this Roja. That is very important. Let us try to fast. Press to fast most of the days in. We learned that he fasts all Ramadan, but he fasts most in Shaban more than any other month. That's one I think we should probably copy. Secondly, I want to kind of pose that whatever you think you want to do in Ramadan, so you highlight them. They just pick one of them and start doing it now. Probably you plan to read 2, 3 Quran, start maybe to read now. You plan to do Sadaqah in Ramadan, start that thing. If just one of those things you want to do in Ramadan, start to do it to start feeling the Ramadan spirit. So feel Ramadan before Ramadan, then in Ramadan you feel Ramadan, and Ramadan you feel Ramadan too. So I think that's the message I have for us tonight. Somebody asked a question on drip. Maybe you can take drip or something like that. The question is that one is that all these things, the first rule is that when somebody is ill and that ailment will cause you serious issue, your person is exempted. There's a kind of ailment that now one can still fast, that kind of fasting, in a case you don't have to use drip or any other thing that is not a supplement as a kind of nutritious in any way, that one is a different thing entirely. So where you are taking something that's not to give you strength, it's not to give you as stuff as food, then that one is clear. Because medicinal to treat some other things, that one is doesn't affect your fast. Then okay, for information to inshallah, because Ramadan time, this our alcohol will go in hibernation for this week, for the 4 weeks. So we are planning that next week, inshallah, we have our alcohol every week now before throughout Shaban every week, so that we implore to also tonight the population, the attendance is somehow not very, it's a bit poor sort of. So let us try to mobilize our brothers and sisters to part of the outing, inshallah. May Allah bless and assist every one of us. So somebody asked, is it permissible to put Quran on bare floor? It's not good. It was on Quran. It's called Al Quran al Kareem, the honorable Quran. So always put Quran on a shelf, on something that is very honest, or somewhere that is not on the floor. It's not good. Just to honor the Quran. Other books, and that's not people. So Muslims have written about the Quran that the most honored book in the world is the Quran. It's the most honored book. The way we keep our Quran, unlike other people that we throw it anyhow, but we don't do that. So the Quran is to be respected in all ways. In your reading, in your handling it, in your everything. You hear it read, you have to keep quiet. Everything like that is about the Quran. So let us always keep it on something higher. Is it haram to us to celebrate what the jam? That's the issue scholars have answered before now. Those who believe it's haram, they should stay aside. Those who believe they are mobilizing and because the people just talk in a global level where you want to revive some things. That's some things that we're not in a country like Saudi, as a kind of Islamic state, Muslim state in a way. So people are using it to send to the people's consciousness that this must be accepted. So that is the goal. Those who are doing it, it's not because they are jobless. Those who believe it's haram, whatever, they can just say accept, not to pose any problem. So when we return to Allah, we decide who is right or who is wrong. But those who are the challenges we are going through, there are so many. During NYC, there'll be we have issues with hijab during many situations. People just that hijab does not affect mentality or intellectualism. But here we are, people just for the sake of creating unnecessary distraction, they always try to hate hijab in a way. So as far as we're concerned, hijab day is a way to mobilize, to recreate awareness about not just hijab alone, it's about the deen. It's about the deen. A menstruating woman whose menstruation stopped before iftar, what should she do? she has lost the fast, and before, is it iftar? No, sahur. If it's before iftar, no, she can't do anything now because who's menstrual before iftar? She can't fast now. Just before iftar. Sahur is about when you take sahur, that's when your fast is valid. So she just that day she can't fast. Yeah, because she can't so just wait and after Ramadan and pay back the day she misses. What measure of meal food should be used as fidya by someone that cannot fast due to? So I don't know the measurement for now. So inshallah, that time I can get the measurement for course. No, it changes every year. So the Zakat people, they will soon send it out. As soon as we get it, inshallah, we'll make it available to us soon. Can I be someone that's fasting to pay back the fast I'm owing during the last Ramadan? Can I feed someone that is fasting to pay back the fasting I'm owing during the last Ramadan? No, you have to fast your fast if you're owing fast. Not just feeding people. to pay to fast. It's not automatic. It's only when one has a constraint that makes one not to be able to pay back. So that constraint must be seen, must be there before somebody can now talk of, okay, somebody fast on your behalf. That constraint is the condition for fidya or whatever, not just because that rich man will not fast at all. You just having to fast my fast. No, fasting is the option. But when there are constraints, probably ill health that you are not getting over easily, or the fast other factors that are genuine, then you can talk of fidya, or somebody can help you to do that. Maybe there's nothing more than the like that some scholars mention some book of fiqh to help them do the fasting. So I think that's the last question for tonight, inshallah. Is that I heard that she cannot eat as soon as the menstruation stops. If she does not eat, when she she doesn't have the fast. Nothing stops her. To honor the month is why they cannot eat, not because that she is fasting. So because fasting has rules, you take sahur, it has hours of fasting. Now you make intention. Now somebody's menstruation stops by 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock. You cannot fast now. She just do to honor the month if she can. If she can not, if she can do without eating, then there's no problem with that. Because by default, she's not fasting for that very day. So the scholars want us to respect the month. We always encourage that, try not to eat to honor the month, because especially if you cannot cope, it does not mean that you cannot eat. But if at all, you don't eat in a public place, but people will not understand that you are not we are using for not eating, just to protect the Ramadan spirit atmosphere, inshallah. So we thank everybody for coming. وجزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. شكرا لكم جميعا.